Most buyers think they're buying into a stable suburb, tree-lined streets, low density, a certain feel. But in Brisbane right now, that assumption is becoming dangerous because the rules are changing. Brisbane City Council has proposed major increases to building heights across key suburban hubs, including up to 30 storeys at Carindale, 25 storeys at Indooroopilly, and increased density across Nundah and surrounding areas. This is part of a broader strategy to increase housing supply and manage population growth. On paper it makes sense, but for buyers it introduces a whole new type of risk. The biggest misconception in property right now. Most buyers focus on the contract, the building and the price, but the real risk is what gets built around you after settlement. Your suburb isn't static anymore. Take Carindale for an example. Historically, low density, family homes, suburbia, predictable growth. Now, planning allowing for up to 30 storeys in key pockets. That's not a small change, that's a transformation. Traditional Carindale doesn't have that. And it affects the streetscape, parking, congestion, buyer demand, and long-term value. Zoning is now the biggest risk that nobody is talking about. This is where the shift is happening. Zoning used to be stable, slow-moving, and predictable. Now it's policy-driven, reactive, and influenced by housing pressure, which means it can all change quickly. The government is trying to work out a solution for the housing crisis, and that means going up. For buyers, that creates a problem. You can do everything right and still get the outcome wrong because the environment around your property changes and you had no idea. The moment this becomes obvious. You may have seen headlines about a clown protest. Yes, a clown protest at Brisbane City Council just a couple of weeks ago. It sounds ridiculous, but it's actually one of the clearest signals of what's happening. Around 50 protesters, many of them dressed up as clowns, disrupted a council meeting over a proposed plan in Wynnum to the precinct. The concerns weren't trivial. Increased density, traffic and congestion, parking pressure, infrastructure gaps. The situation escalated into political accusations of fake campaign claims and pushback on how developments are being delivered. It's more than just a protest. It's a sign that property decisions are now being shaped by public pressure, politics and media attention. But weirdly enough, it's not getting much publicity and no one's talking about it. Why this matters more than ever. Here's the shift most buyers haven't caught up with. Property is no longer just a legal transaction, it's a moving target because the outcomes are now influenced by zoning changes with planning rules, political agendas and community sentiment. These things are all changing quickly, which is untraditional. The hidden problem is the infrastructure lag. One of the biggest risks with rapid desensification is infrastructure. As density increases, traffic increases, parking becomes limited, and public services are stretched. It rarely arrives at the same time as development, and that gap matters. If you've ever seen this happen in suburbia where they've allowed townhouses or low-rises, there's never any street parking, there's congestion, it causes problems. What smart buyers are doing differently? The best buyers in the market are already adjusting. They're not just asking, is this a good property? They're asking, what's happening nearby? What could be approved? And where is this suburb heading? If you're buying in Brisbane right now, look beyond the property. Understand the zoning, the nearby development, and the council planning direction. Don't rely on the feel of driving down a nice leafy street in Carindale or Indooroopilly because that might not be the case just around the corner. However, there's upside and downside to development. Upside, increasing land values, improving infrastructure over time, stronger demand near hubs, and of course, more housing near hub centres. Downside, oversupply, construction disruption, and reduced privacy and amenity, and those traditional suburbia suburbs becoming more like a mini city. And of course, let's not forget the ongoing issue of rising material and construction costs and the current fuel crisis. What we're seeing at Empire Legal. On the ground, we're already seeing buyers curious about zoning and development, the public's concern about high density in suburbia, the clown protest, and more deals impacted by planning uncertainty. It's no longer theoretical, it's happening in real transactions. Remember guys, when there are more of the same product, for example, towers and high-rises, like Surfers Paradise, it makes the product less unique and creates pricing competition. We've seen the same thing in Newstead. Lots of apartments have come up, which makes more competition, which sometimes doesn't allow the prices to be driven higher. What Brisbane has in its corner, of course, is everyone wants to live here and there's not enough housing. So again, the other side of the coin. To wrap it all up, The biggest mistake buyers are making right now is assuming the property they see and buy today is the one they're going to be in long term in terms of what's around it. In Brisbane's current market, that's no longer true. What are your thoughts? Do you want to see 30-storey towers near the Carindale shopping centre? Do you want to see 25-storey towers near Indooroopilly? What about Nundah? Comment below. We want to hear what the community has to say about these high-rise changes to the zoning. Please like, subscribe and share, guys. Share it with a friend. Lots of people don't know about this and it's up to us to spread this awareness. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind that all advice is general in nature and does not constitute legal advice. This is authorised by George Souris Empire Legal, Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia.